The decade of the 50s was truly fabulous, and so was the American Championship racing during those years. The drivers were tough and fearless. They raced hard and played hard. Driver safety was non-existent. Flimsy helmets, no fire suits, no shoulder harnesses or roll bars. The cars were fast and dangerous, the tracks rough and treacherous. Henry Banks won the 1950 National Championship in the Lindsey Hopkins Special. He was smooth and consistent. Tony Bettenhausen won the title in 1951 and 1958. Chuck Stevenson won the title in '52, driving for lady car owner Bessie Paoli. Sam Hanks won the national driving title in 1953. Jimmy Bryan won the title 3 times, driving the Dean Van Line Special in 1954, 1956, and 1957, and was runner-up in 1955. Bryan was the master on dirt and a champion's champion. He won a total of 23 national championship races in the 50s, including the Indianapolis 500 in 1958. Bob Schweikert won the 1955 Indianapolis 500 and the 1955 driving title, always a tough competitor. Roger Ward won his title in 1959, the last champion of the fabulous 50s. More than 60 cars were entered for the 1950 Indianapolis 500. Clark Gable was in town for the filming of To Please a Lady and strolls with Lee Wallard. Maury Rose, 3-time Indy winner. The Cummins diesel driven by Jimmy Jackson was a big and powerful car. Lou Moore entered 4 cars with Blue Crown spark plug sponsorship driven by Lee Wallard, George Connor, Tony Bettenhausen, and 1949 Indianapolis 500 winner, Bill Holland. Jack McGrath qualified for the 2nd row in the Hinkle Special. Barbara Stanwyck is cheerful. Tony Bettenhausen prepares to qualify. Freddie Agabashian brings the Wins friction proofing special in after qualifying with a speed of 129.208. He's 2nd fastest. Wilbur Shaw shakes hands with Freddie and clowns around for the photographers. J.C. Agajanian is proud of his driver, Walt Faulkner, fast qualifier for the month. 33 cars are rolled out for the start of the 1950 Indianapolis 500-mile race. The green flag is waved and the field charges into turn 1. Maury Rose is the early leader. Agabashian and Parsons are close behind. Johnny Parsons led on lap 10 and swapped the lead several times with Rose. Bill Holland took over first place on the 110th lap and led for 8 laps. Parsons regained the lead on lap 118 and stretched it out. The crowd reacts to the sudden rainstorm and the drivers are caught in a downpour. Jack McGrath and Paul Russo spun before starter Seth Klein threw the red flag on lap 138. Johnny Parsons pulls into victory lane and almost gets hung on the way in. Parsons led 115 laps of the rain-shortened race. His wife gives him a big kiss. Ralph De Palma congratulates Parsons. A large field of cars are again on hand for the 1951 Indianapolis race. Mac Hellings has qualified the Tuffinelli Special and will start in the 9th row. Hellings raced midgets on the West Coast before moving into championship cars. George Connor will start in the 7th row in the Blue Crown Special. George raced sprint cars at Legion Ascot in the 30s. He finished 8th at Indy in 1950 and hopes for a better finish in 1951. Rookie Bill Vukovich qualified the Central Excavating Special and will start his first 500 alongside Connor. Chuck Stevenson, another rookie, qualified the Bardall Marchese Special and will start inside 7th row next to Vukovich. Carl Marchese and others congratulate Chuck. Veteran Chet Miller stops in the pits after qualifying the Novi Pure Lube Special. Gene Marcinak and the rest of the crew are happy. Benson Ford congratulates Duke Nalen on qualifying the second Novi for the race. Bill Schindler, East Coast veteran, will start from the 6th row. Roger Ward, another rookie, will start back in the 9th row. Ward raced midgets on the West Coast in the 40s. He's smooth and fast. Lee Wallard will start from the front row in the Bellinger Special and will be tough to beat. The traditional balloons fill the sky, and the start of the Indianapolis 500 is not far off. Tony Hulman and Wilbur Shaw seat Loretta Young in the pace car. Thousands of race fans excitedly await the start. The pace car brings the field past the front stretch on the parade lap. Duke Nalen's on the pole, Wallard and McGrath alongside. They set the pace for the start. Let's join the race as it was called in 1951.
Down the long straightaway on the pace lap. And the race is on, a perfect start. Jack McGrath, the number 9, takes the lead into Tornado Bend where anything can happen. Lee Wallard is ahead before the first lap ends, doing just over 122 miles an hour. The day's first battle for the lead is on. It's still Wallard and McGrath. The rest are jockeying for positions according to their strategy. McGrath is trying desperately to overtake Wallard. They have increased their speed to more than 124 miles per hour. Behind the leader comes Troy Ruttman, Nazareth, Dwayne Carter, Cecil Green, Bettenhausen, Freddie Agapation, Faulkner, and Parsons. McGrath leads at the end of 3 laps and wins his first $100 lap prize. McGrath stays out in front through the 4th lap, but the 5th lap belongs to Wallard, who's doing almost 126 miles an hour. Cecil Green is 3rd, Walt Faulkner 4th. Officials keeping watch for safety see McGrath ahead on the 7th lap. They use a 2-way phone system. Green is back in 3rd place, Faulkner 4th. Blackboard signs tell Bettenhausen and Carter how fast they are going. It's a terrific pace. Too much at the end of only 8 laps for Joe James. He's out of the race with a broken drive shaft. At 10 laps, it's McGrath, Wallard, Green, and Faulkner. McGrath's average speed is up to 128 miles per hour, a record. Pit stops begin early. Here comes Johnny McDowell in the great money-making car, Wilbur Shaw's Maserati. Not far behind is Mac Hellings. The pits already have been visited by Hanks, who had trouble starting, and Nalon. McDowell's gas tank is broken, so he's out of the race on his 14th lap. Wallard recaptures the lead on the 16th lap with McGrath still fighting every inch of the way. Hellings is back in the pits on his 18th. That's all for him, a broken piston. A tough moment for any driver, and off to the garage for another hopeful. Cecil Green in yellow number 4 is trying to fight his way up past McGrath. It's lap 21. Green is giving Wallard his second battle, a 1/5 of a second behind. Green refuses to wait for the brakes and presses ahead, fast like a rabbit. Like a rabbit, hey, there's one, running the wrong way. Here comes Nalon for another pit stop. He rolls past his crew, wasting valuable time. Meanwhile, 3 more cars have failed under the great pressure, leaving 27 in the race. At 30 laps, Wallard sets another record with an average speed of 130.5 miles per hour. Novi special with Chet Miller at the wheel, and the Novi pit crew still busy with nail-on. But nail-on gets back in the race, now running several laps behind the leaders. Other pit crews are on their alert, and here comes another car. It is Bettenhausen on his 42nd lap. Lou Moore's crew goes to work efficiently. He changes the tire himself. The whole job takes just 50 seconds. Green is still on Wallen's tail at 50 laps, and the average speed is 130.5 miles per hour, again a record. But on the next lap, Wallen goes to the pits. He has lost part of his exhaust pipes, but no harm is done. He is changing tires and refueling. So Green is first now. After 1 minute and 13 seconds, Wallen goes out to make up lost time. Murray Rose in the pits on his 44th lap. He has been moving up slowly to 8th place. He's pacing himself according to plan. That's a veteran's know-how. Keeping tab on his favorite car. While Rose is in, Green the leader stops too. He tarries only 30 seconds to change a tire. Bronco Bill Schindler pulls in, causing a delay of several seconds in Rose's takeoff. Agabatian, who has been fourth, takes off after his pit stop. All stops aren't so fast. Mechanics hurry, but the drivers must sweat it out. Here comes Bobby Ball, the rookie. Ball's car is on fire. The crew spilled some fuel. Trackside firefighters go to work at once. They are always on hand for pit stops. CO2 puts out the fire, a 3A safety measure. And Ball is on his way again. There's a new leader in this shifting race, Jimmy Davies, a soldier on furlough. Davies shows the way for some 25 laps before he also is forced to the pits on his 76th. The average speed is still 127 3/4 miles per hour. Meanwhile, Chet Miller and his Novi special has left the race. Brown is out too. Green is ahead, Faulkner is second, Waller third. While Davies is on the sidelines, McGrath takes fourth and Bobby Ball is worked up to fifth. A dose of carbon dioxide is spread on the spilled gasoline and Davies is off again. Who's she watching? At 80 laps, 200 miles, it's still Green, Faulkner, Waller, and McGrath, 127 miles per hour. The 3A officials keep close watch. Green is in trouble on his 81st lap. Spectators see Green go out, and Faulkner is ahead. 13 drivers are out of the race now. Waller's ahead again by 2.8 seconds, followed by Faulkner and Nazareth. Stevenson's car is on fire. Chuck stays with his car and guides it safely to the infield. Nobody hurt, but only 19 cars left in the race. Rose is eighth again, and Bettenhausen right after him. At 100 laps, they are running according to plan, avoiding the speed battles and driving at a steady pace. Halfway through, it's time for a snack. Time for a nap, too. Nailon overshoots his pit all the way to the turn. His brakes are gone. He matches Novi to the pit and is penalized 1 lap for not going on a round in accordance with the rules. More high strategy. And while Nailon waits to leave the pit, Lou Moore waves to Bettenhausen. Now it's a battle between Wallen and Faulkner ever since Green went out some 30 laps back. But at 110 laps, Nazareth is second and Wallen has his 4th battle to fight. McGrath has turned the wheel over of number 9 to Manny Aiello. Walter makes a crazy turn into the pits on his 123rd lap. He's out of the race, a victim of the record speed of 127 miles per hour. The Emperor Alert 3A official sees something. Rose is skidding. The first car to flip. But Rose, covered with mud, walks away. He first wants to assure his children he's okay and says some days you can't make a dime. He was running third. Walter leads by a lap. At 345 miles, Walter is averaging 125 miles per hour. Parsons was doing 124 when the 1950 race was rained out at that distance. Nazareth has to pull in for tires and fuel. Walter has stopped only once. Nazareth takes advantage of all of the 1 minute and 44 seconds he is in to make himself fit for the fight to finish with Waller. Nazareth is in his 147th lap. Waller is 2 laps ahead of him now. Is stalled out of the race on his 152nd lap. He is short of 10th place, though, because only 9 others are still running. Another one is after Waller. Linden at number 57. Linden passes Waller. He's gaining a lap in the field. While Waller and Linden battle, Bettenhausen spins. It's Bettenhausen's 178th lap. He has been in 5th place. Now he is assured of 9th place money because only 8 cars are left to finish the race. The pace has been too much for 25 starters. At 180 laps, 450 miles, Wallen is pressing his little car without mercy to keep his 2-lap lead. Nazareth is next. The other 6 in the race are Ball, Aiulo, Banks, Linden, Forberg, and Carter. The average speed is still better than 126.5 miles per hour. Waller is told, take it easy. But no taking it easy for Waller. He has lost the shock absorber. His brakes are gone, too. It's dangerous driving, but Waller hangs on. Lap 99, 1 to go. Waller's pit crew gets excited as Waller goes around. He comes in for the checker flag and victory. Waller's crew hurries to the winner's circle. He drives 2 extra laps just in case the scorers made a mistake. And here he comes, his motor tired, silent after the record time of 3 hours, 57 minutes, 38 and 5/100ths of a second. Waller is the first to drive the 500 in less than 4 hours. His average speed has been a record 126.244 miles per hour. He's been trying 4 years for this. He wipes his face as he heads his brakeless car toward the winner's circle. Nazareth second and Aiulo third. Then came Linden, Banks, Ball, Forberg, and Carter. His car rolls into the winner's circle on the last of the power that sped it to victory and held it together through the grueling test. This has been the safest 500 in history. Not a single driver hurt, even though the speed was so great that a record number of 25 drivers failed to finish. Movie actress Loretta Young wipes his dirty, sweaty face. The crew crowds in too, and Waller kisses his happy wife. Newsreel cameramen record this event as winner Lee Waller, $60,000 richer, is cheered for driving the fastest 500.
Walt Brown kiddingly asks Wallard for a loan the day after winning the 500. Brown takes his hat off for Mike Nazareth, who finished second to Wallard in the 1951 Indianapolis race. Christy Konamaki, Eastern writer and announcer, gives a wave.
Merle Bellinger's number 99, with which Tony Bettenhausen won the season's first 3A championship race at Milwaukee, and which Lee Waller drove to victory at Indianapolis, rolls toward the track. Down to the track comes number 4, which is to be driven by the Texas favorite, Cecil Green. Green's car, which fell apart after leading the Indianapolis race, is among 35 cars that are entered in today's race. This is Langhorne's silver anniversary year. Bill Schindler's number 10 is pulled past. Almost everyone is here now, and mechanics are tuning up the motors. Cecil Green is ready for his qualification run. There will be 18 starters. He's doing more than 90 miles an hour. And he qualifies. Now let's hear Russ Kaplan, editor of Speed Age, chatting with Bill Schindler.
I saw you run here last year. I wonder if you knew that you led this race for a part of a lap last year.
No, I was just too busy, Russ. I didn't know where I was going.
You were plenty busy. No, the lap that you broke down on, you actually were leading until you came into the pits. It was a tough race. What do you think this one today will be like?
I think it'll be pretty tough. The track is slippery, and of course everybody's going to try to go as fast as they can, as usual.
Bill, have you ever won any races on this track?
Yeah, I won a 150-mile midget race, the last midget race they had on the track here.
That's right. Bill has been an Eastern midget champ for years. Well, good luck to you, Bill.
Okay, thanks, Russ.
Schindler, you know, has only his right leg. And here he comes around the most dangerous curve on a track which is nothing but curves. Now let's hear what Jack McGrath has to say.
How did you make out here last year?
Well, we were fortunate enough to win the race here last year.
Fortunate enough, I should say you were. I saw you win another one, too. Where was that?
Over at, let's see. Syracuse, New York. Uh-huh.
Yeah, Jack wins lots of them. Well, thanks, and good luck to you today, Jack.
Thank you very much.
Place winners in this race will get points toward the season's 3A National Championship and prize money as well. Jack McGrath wants those, and pole position, too. He drives the mile at 99.06 miles an hour, the fastest qualifier. Russ Kaplan has 2 men with him. Driver Mike Nazarik's on the right.
Mike, there's just one question I want to ask you. Before the 500 this year, and the first one you ever drove, did you actually think you'd finish second like you did?
Well, no, Russ. I didn't actually believe I would finish second. I knew I'd be in the first 5. I was going to go out and do the best I could. I had a good car and a good crew. And I knew they'd let me know where I was at all times, you see.
Well, you drove a beautiful race, and I believe at least half of that was credited to a fellow on my right, Frankie Delroy. Do you agree, Frankie?
Thanks for the compliment, Russ, but we all tried to do a good job, and we're all doing everything possible to make Mike as comfortable as possible.
Frank, did you ever ride in a race at Indianapolis?
About 8 times.
Riding mechanic for who?
Well, the last time I rode with Bill Cummings in '37 when we sat on the pole and had the misfortune to break a water line. We still struggled 6th.
Yeah, I'll say you did. Mike, how do you like big cars?
Well, I'm just kind of getting used to it right now. I've got a lot to learn, but I feel I'm going to do real good in this game, too.
You're doing real good. Well, thanks a lot, fellas, and good luck to you.
There's Tony Bettenhausen going out for his run. Tony won't be interviewed or posed for pictures before he qualifies, a kind of superstition. Tony has 400 points toward the national championship. Waller's Indianapolis victory won him 1,000. A victory today is worth 200 points. Tony has qualified. This is Bill Bukovich, the Mad Russian. Qualifying runs are over. Back in the pit, owner Merle Bellinger is hovering around his number 99, hoping for his 3rd victory in 3 starts. A drop of sweat hangs on Johnny Parsons' nose and drops. Now that he is qualified, Tony Bettenhausen is quite willing to chat with Russ Kaplan. Let's listen to them.
How's your car running today, Tony?
Car's running very good. The track is a little slick right now, but after the race gets underway, why, that slick surface is going to come off because the cars will be running continuously out there, and we're not going to have that oil cooking up out of there like it is now.
Tony, you've got an awful good start this year. You're going to shoot for the championship?
Well, I'm going to try to drive every race to win. At the same time, I'm going to try to drive every race to finish. If I can't win them, second and third pay off too.
That's a little bit different than you used to do. Well, so far, this car's undefeated. Is that right?
That's right. This car won the Indianapolis race, as you know, with Lee driving it down there, and I won the opener up at Milwaukee. I hope I can continue today.
Well, good luck to you, Tony, and thanks a lot.
Thank you, Russ.
Now it's minutes to starting time. This is the tensest moment for drivers. Will these $30,000 cars stand the pace? Will they skid through the fence on sudden death curves? Will they finish in the money? Some are very, very serious. And others seem carefree before the start. Owner Bellinger and Bettenhausen check on their strategy to win or finish. They are strung out as they round the first sharp curve. Some are still missing from the lineup. The race is on. A beautiful sight as they go into the crucial first turn. McDowell, who had trouble starting, picks his car from sixth position to grab the lead from pole winner McGrath. There's McDowell increasing his lead. That's a surprise. The first lap ends with McDowell, followed by Bettenhausen, who is in fifth starting position. Next comes McGrath, Schindler, and Bukovic. The race has got off to a terrific start as McDowell presses farther ahead. McDowell is really revving. Can he keep it up? Is his car that good? Already the cars are cutting up the oily surface of the track, and McDowell's still on it, which in racetrack language means pressing hard on the throttle. McDowell's far ahead now after 7 laps, but the race is young, and others are winding up with the 93 miles still to go. McGrath in number 9 is coming up on Bettenhausen and passing him. By the time he gets into the dangerous curve, McGrath is well ahead of everyone but McDowell. McDowell's motor is stalled. He's on his way out of the race. Jack McGrath is in the lead now with Tony Bettenhausen running second. Jack's pouring coke to it, going fast on turns. Here comes Billy Bukovic in number 81. The Mad Russian's gaining on McGrath and Bettenhausen. Bukovic is in the lead on the 20th lap. Bill is the third man to lead the race, and there's still 80 miles to go. He's gaining with every lap. Bronco Bill Schindler is winding it up after 30 laps. He's gaining on Bukovic. He's now in second place ahead of Bettenhausen and McGrath. Bukovic's motor stops, and he goes to the pit. Out of the race for good on the 30th lap. That gives us the fourth leader in the race, Bill Schindler, the former midget racing champion. He's taking a turn alongside Manny Ayulo, the son of San Francisco's Peruvian consul, but Bill's far ahead of him. Bettenhausen's in second place. Jack McGrath's running third. Nepper, Banks, and Green are next. Hey, a geyser shoots up out of Cliff Griffith's car. Schindler's 20 years experience in racing is paying off. McGrath still third at the 50 laps halfway mark. But Jack signals for a pit stop. He's no longer a contender to win. Schindler builds up his lead to 3/4 of a lap over Bettenhausen, just a minute slower than the record time at this point. Now Cecil Green is trying to make up time. Banks has followed McGrath to the pit. That puts Green in fourth. He's trying to take Nepper, who is third. 23,890 race fans have paid up to $5 to see this great race. Hey, there's Griffith's geyser again. Bettenhausen has been given his go signal on the 70th lap and is getting on it in an effort to overtake the speeding Schindler. In 4 laps, he gained 7 seconds. He's 17 seconds behind. By the 80th lap, he is 3 seconds behind. Bettenhausen's ahead. He has passed Schindler with only 15 miles to go. It has taken him just 15 laps to make up the 24 seconds he was behind. And now Tony's really showing Bill his dust. Well, it's Old Faithful again. 7 of the starters are out of the race as Bettenhausen rears back in his seat and revs his number 99 closer and closer to the finish. And this is it. The checkered flag, and Bettenhausen is the winner. He's coming around for the victor's greeting now. Bettenhausen now has 600 points toward the 3A championship. His time, 1 hour, 4 minutes, 54.18 seconds. His average speed has been 92.37 miles an hour, just 18 seconds short of the track record set 10 years earlier by Duke Nayland. Schindler has finished second, 2 laps behind. Green, Neffer, Ayulo, and Freddie Agabashian have finished in that order. Tony says, how did I get here? Bettenhausen has driven 100 miles around a series of continuous curves. He's really weary after winning the 3A championship race at Langhorne.
The Pagoda reminds us it's time for the 500. Ferrari, one of the greatest names in racing, is entered for the 1952 race. The pits are lined with cars ready to make a qualification attempt. Jack McGrath will start in the front row. Sam Hank starts from the middle second row. Andy Linden is happy to make the race. He'll start in the middle of the 7th row in the Miracle Power Special. Duke Nayland qualified the Pure Oil Novi with an average speed of 136.188 miles per hour and will start inside the 2nd row. J.C. Agajanian congratulates his driver, Troy Ruttman, on his qualification run. Troy will start inside 3rd row and proudly poses for team photos. Freddie Agabashian pulls in after qualifying the Cummins diesel at a blazing speed of 138.010 miles per hour and will start from pole position front row. Jim Rathman will start 10th in the Granatelli Win Special. George Connor is happy with his 5th row run. Joe James has qualified the Bardall Special and will start in the 6th row. James is congratulated by his mechanic, Harry Stevens, as the rest of the crew attends to his car. Rookie Jimmy Bryan is in the show. Art Cross receives a hug and a handshake after qualifying the Bo Seal Fast Special. Jimmy Reese, another rookie, makes the race and is congratulated on his run by fellow driver Jim Rathman. Rookie Bob Swikert missed the show in the Pat Clancy Special, but will try another car. Rookie Bob Scott hears his time and knows he's in the race. Bobby Ball shows the dummy his 6th row starting time. Henry Banks, the 1950 National Driving Champion, is in the show and will start from the 4th row. Alberto Ascari qualified the Ferrari at an average speed of 134.308 miles per hour and will start in row 7. He won his first of 2 World Driving Championships in 1952. Manuel Ayulo picked up a few scrapes during his run, but is happy to be in the show. Bob Swikert pulls the McNamara Special into the pits and finally makes the show. Swikert will start way back in the last row, but after 3 cars and 2 qualification runs, he's just happy to be in the race. Johnny Parsons will join Swikert in the last row and is very glad to be in the show. The race is on, and Jack McGrath leads going into turn 1. Bill Vukovich takes the lead on lap 6 and is followed by McGrath and Ruttman. Vukovich has led most of the race. He's followed by Troy Ruttman, who has swapped the lead several times. Vuki is on lap 191 and has led 150 laps. He looks like a sure winner. Vukovich's steering gives out in turn 3, taking him into the wall and out of the race. Ruttman inherits the lead and 8 laps later takes the checkered flag. Troy pulls into victory circle. He's congratulated by his chief mechanic, Clay Smith, and car owner, J.C. Agajanian, and becomes the youngest Indy winner ever. It's 1953, and the cars are again rolled out to the starting line for the start of another Indianapolis 500. Bill Vukovich is on the pole and plans to win this one. Jack McGrath will start from the front row. Paul Russo is in row 6. Stock car ace Marshall Teague is a rookie and will start in row 8. The cars are on the parade lap. Vukovich, Agabation, and McGrath will set the pace for the start. The pace car pulls in and the starter throws the green flag. The race is on. Vukovich takes the lead. Bettenhausen is second. It's anyone's guess on back. Vukovich has a lock on first place and has led every lap so far. Billy stretches his lead. The next 8 cars are closely packed. Art Cross moves past Bettenhausen for second. Agabation is fourth. It's very hot, and Faulkner is in for driver relief on lap 42. Bill Vukovich makes a pit stop. He has led every lap so far. His crew will give him 4 tires and top off the fuel. Billy sits patiently. Sam Hanks is the new leader. Vukovich gets a slap on the shoulder and told, "Go get him, Bill," as they push him off. The crowd is on their feet. Vukovich is back in the lead. On lap 70, Carl Scarborough stopped for driver relief and left his car completely exhausted from the heat and humidity. Carl tells the fuel man he's through for the day. Unfortunately, Scarborough lapsed into unconsciousness and died later that day. Bob Scott took over the McNamara car and is pushed out to join the race. Lap 100, Vukovich continues to lead and is almost 2 laps ahead of second place Agabation. Art Cross has passed Agabation for second place. Several drivers have been in for relief. Pat Flaherty slams into the wall on lap 115 and slides to a stop, severely shaken up. The heat is taking its toll on the drivers. Tony Bettenhausen brought his Agajanian special in on lap 116 and is totally exhausted. Marshall Teague came in on lap 169 and struggles to get out of his car. Cal Nide was standing by to relieve Teague, but was unable to restart the car. Marshall was so exhausted he needed help to remove his helmet and shakes his head in disappointment. Vukovich has led all but 5 laps. Art Cross is second. Henry Banks stands by for relief. Vukovich is on the last lap. Bill Vukovich finally wins the Indianapolis 500. He drove the race without relief. Art Cross was second. Vukovich was a popular winner, but a tired and dirty winner. And when the press writers asked him about the race, he motioned that he couldn't hear because of the roar from the race car. Billy leans over to kiss his wife, and then actress Jane Greer, all in a day's work. After the Indianapolis race, the cars remain in Indianapolis for the rest of the race season. Most of the drivers exercise to stay in shape. Jimmy Daywalt works out and Bob Schweikert helps by wiping off his brow. Schweikert wants to know if he needs relief. No thanks. The race car has to be torn down between each race by the mechanic. Manuel Ayulo is both mechanic and driver. It's a full-time job. Joe Sestillo, a top sprint car and midget driver looking for a championship ride. Ed Elysian asks his mechanic Barney Christensen to make an adjustment on his car. Jimmy Bryan took over the Springfield welding car after Indianapolis. He finished second in the Milwaukee 100-miler and third in the Detroit 100-miler and expects to win before the end of the 1953 season. Manuel Ayulo and Don Freeland set the pace for the start of the first Hoosier 100, September 26, 1953. Ayulo leads. Schweikert pulls past Freeland and charges after Ayulo. Bob Schweikert took the lead on the sixth lap. Ayulo, Freeland, and Parsons follow. Ayulo is all over Schweikert. Parsons presses Freeland on the inside and takes over third place. Schweikert is on the last lap and heads for the checkered flag with Ayulo, Parsons, and Freeland on his tail. Hanks and Bettenhausen pick up 5th and 6th positions. 18,000 race fans cheered Schweikert into victory circle for his first national championship win. The 1954 Indianapolis race had a repeat winner. Billy Vukovich made it 2 in a row by winning the 38th annual race. Vukie was almost a lap ahead of second place Jimmy Bryan. Billy led for 90 laps and picked up a check for $74,934. The start of the 1955 Indianapolis race is minutes away. Jerry Hoyt will be starting from pole position in row 1. Tony Bettenhausen will start alongside Hoyt and could win. Freddie Agabation is in the second row. Bob Schweikert is in the John Zink Special in row 5. Billy Vukovich is in row 2 and is favored to win his third 500. Jack McGrath led the first 3 laps. He swapped the lead 3 times with Vukovich during the first 70 miles. On lap 54, McGrath was forced into the pits with a broken oil line. Jack worked on it for several laps and finally gave up. George Sally tries to cheer up Jack. On lap 56, observers report an accident on the backstretch. Roger Ward is into the Wallen flipping. Johnny Boyd is rammed by Keller. Vukovich slams into Boyd, sending them into violent flips. Vukovich ends up outside the track. Ward, Boyd, and Keller escape serious injury, but Vukie died in the incident. The race is restarted and Bryan is leading Schweikert in second. Bryan is still leading on lap 88, but his car is smoking and Schweikert is on his tail. Schweikert leads on lap 89 and Bryan is in the pits with a broken oil line. Jimmy reaches into his car for a cigar, shakes his head and redesigns the tail of his car with a swift kick. Schweikert continues to lead. Schweikert is on the last lap and heads for the checkered flag. A.J. Watson cheers him on. Bob Schweikert takes the checkered flag and wins the 39th Indianapolis 500-mile race. Tony Bettenhausen was second and Jimmy Davies third. Dinah Shore plants a kiss on Schweikert. Bob led 86 laps and took home a check for $76,138. Schweikert gets another kiss from his wife, Dory. A couple of weeks after the 55 race, Tony Hulman dropped by to visit with his racing friends before the Langhorne 100-miler. Bob Schweikert rushes out to welcome Tony and invites his pal Jimmy Bryan over to say hello. Hulman was a real race fan and enjoyed his friends in racing. He listens while Schweikert fills him in on his plans. Bryan listens, then adds his 2 bits worth. Herb Porter and Ed Elysian work on the Walcott Special, getting it ready for Langhorne. A.J. Watson and Bob Swiker discuss ideas about the chassis. Bob was a very good mechanic and worked on all of his cars. Jimmy Bryan helps Clint Brawner reassemble the seat in the Dean Van Line Special. Bryan won the 1954 National Driving Championship and hopes to repeat in '55. Jimmy plans to make it 2 wins in a row at Langhorne. Andy Linden works on the left rear hub and chats with Leroy Warrener. Judd Phillips replaces an engine in the Esta Special. Dave Boyer and Bob Veith give him a hand. Cars are set on scales to adjust the weight for the best setup. Jack Martin places a tire and wheel on the wheel balancer as Don Freeland, Ed Elysian, and Jimmy Reese watch. Martin explains the procedure and answers questions. Langhorne Speedway, the world's fastest mile dirt track. 18 cars charge into turn 1 and 15,000 fans are on their feet. The track is a 1-mile circular oval with no straightaways and limited visibility. It's very hard to avoid crashing if a car spins in front of you. Johnny Thompson was faced with this problem while leading when Jerry Hoyt spun in turn 4. Bryan battled his way from the 3rd row to win. Swikert finished 2nd. Jim Rathman leads Pat O'Connor in the 1956 Indy 500. O'Connor is the new leader. Bettenhausen and Rathman follow. O'Connor has a new challenger as Pat Flaherty rides his tail. O'Connor holds on to 1st. Flaherty challenges on the inside and Russo gets into the act. Rathman is 4th. Russo takes 2nd. O'Connor, Russo, and Flaherty lap a slower car. Russo took the lead on lap 21, but blows a right rear tire, sending him into the wall and out of the race. Troy Ruttman tells how he saw Russo's crash and was forced to spin. Flaherty is leading with a 139-mile-an-hour average. Bob Swikert loses a right rear tire and spins. Swikert kept his car off the wall and heads to the pits for repairs. Flaherty has led since lap 76 and is still leading on the last lap. The checkered flag is out and Flaherty flashes by the winner. His crew flashes a $sign. Pat Flaherty pulls into victory circle and is greeted by A.J. Watson and the rest of the crew. Pat takes a drink of milk and reveals that his throttle broke on the last lap. Virginia Mayo and Pat's wife plan a kiss on each cheek. How sweet it is. Tragedy struck on June 17th during a sprint car race at Salem, Indiana. Bob Swiker crashed over the first turn wall and was killed. He was the 1955 sprint car and national driving champion. The Miracle Power Special entered at Indy in 1955 was a radical streamline design driven by Jim Rathman. Another streamliner was the Sumar driven by Jimmy Daywalt. George Sally had a radical new car for Sam Hanks to drive in 1957, and it's explained by George.
One of the secrets of the success of this revolutionary car was that its engine, instead of standing up vertically in a normal manner, was modified so that it could be placed in the car lying down on its side. Oh, George Sally.
Yes?
You being the builder of this champion, how could you possibly make the engine run in a horizontal position, lying down on its side?
What difference does it make? The engine doesn't realize whether it's standing up or laying down.
George, what's the advantage of it lying on its side?
On the track with the engine horizontal, you will notice the hood is much lower, affording vastly improved visibility. Also, the position of the engine lowers the center of gravity, distributing stress and strain to all 4 wheels in the turns.
Thank you, George.
Pat O'Connor takes the lead on the first lap of the 1957 Indianapolis race. Everyone makes it safely through turn 1. O'Connor leads through lap 4. Ruttman is on his heels and Russo is now 4th. Ruttman leads on lap 5. O'Connor is 2nd. The crowd watches as Ruttman heads down the pits on lap 13 with a blown engine. Russo is the new leader. Hanks passes O'Connor for second and charges after Russo. Hanks slips by Russo and takes the lead on lap 36. Hanks is in the pits on lap 49. Johnny Thompson moved into first place. George Sally and his crew swarm over the car as Hanks nervously waits to join the race. Hanks was in the pits for 43 seconds. The board shows Hanks leading by 10 seconds. He's led every lap since 1:35 and only has 10 laps to go. Sally and his crew anxiously count the laps. Finally, the checkered flag is shown and Hanks streaks home the winner. Sally's car will start a new trend. An emotional Hanks is congratulated in Victory Circle. His win at Indy was a long time coming. Sam gets a kiss from his wife, Alice. George Sally and Sam Hanks posed for photos the day after the 500. Hanks announced his retirement from racing after winning the race. Five-time world driving champion Juan Fangio planned on running the 1958 Indianapolis race and stopped by Trenton Speedway in April of '58 to get some driving instructions from Johnny Thompson in his championship dirt car. Thompson shook the car down for a few laps and showed Fangio the right line. Juan watched very closely. Johnny brings the car in after a few laps. Fangio asks a few questions and feels he's ready to take the car out for some practice. He buckles himself in and waits to be pushed off for his trial run. The car is different from any race car he's ever driven. Juan drifts a little high through turn 4. Fangio is on the gas coming out of turn 4 and heads down the straightaway. His speeds are conservative, but he looks good. After a few laps, he brings it in. Juan was pleased with his trial run and went to Indianapolis in '58. He tried 2 cars, spun one of them, and decided he would stick to Grand Prix cars. The 1958 Indianapolis 500 is underway. Dick Rathman and Ed Elysian duel for the lead on the first lap. Elysian spins and takes Rathman with him. Reese collects Vythe and then O'Connor, causing him to flip. Most of the rest of the field is involved. Jerry Unser cartwheels over the wall. More cars are trapped in the chain reaction. All but O'Connor escaped serious injury. He died in the crash. Paul Russo is in for repairs. 12 of the cars involved in the crash return to the race, including Russo. Bill Cheeseburg is restarted. It took 19 laps to get the race back underway. Jimmy Bryan has the lead. George Amick is second and Tony Bettenhausen third. Amick passes Bryan on the backstretch and is the new leader on lap 46. Bryan retook the lead on lap 47 and swapped first place with Tony Bettenhausen through lap 66. Johnny Boyd led for 18 laps. Bryan passed him on lap 126 and hung on to the lead for the rest of the race. Bryan heads for the checkered flag. Jimmy Bryan wins the 1958 Indianapolis 500 and makes it 2 in a row for George Sally's laydown roadster. Actress Shirley MacLaine kisses Bryan several times. She really enjoyed this job, and so did Bryan. Tony Bettenhausen finished 4th in '58 and looks for a win in '59. Jim Rathman won the Daytona race in April for Indy cars and hopes to win the 1959 Indianapolis race. Roger Ward was second at Daytona and plans to reverse the finish at Indy. It's a great start, and 33 cars charge into turn 1, led by Johnny Thompson. The fans are on their feet on lap 8 as Eddie Sachs loses it in turn 1 and spins in front of several cars. Sachs brings the car down to the apron. Everybody squeaks by. The race is restarted. Jim Rathman is in the lead, followed by Roger Ward and Johnny Thompson. On the 44th lap, Mike McGill takes a bad spill in turn 3. The crowd watches as the safety crew rushes to his aid. McGill survived the crash. Johnny Thompson led laps 49 through 84. Roger Ward retook the lead on lap 85 and was all alone in first place. Ward is on the last lap. Roger has led 130 laps and will win his first Indianapolis race. It's official, Ward is the winner. Rathman is second and Thompson third. Ward is the last winner of the 50s and went on to win the national driving title in 59. Jim Hurtubise joined the championship ranks the last 3 races of 59 and won the final race of the Fabulous 50s at Sacramento, beating the Old Guard. It signaled the changing of the guard as we roar into the 60s. Limited edition Fabulous 50s American Championship Racing Book. Over 1,200 photographs, 11 original paintings, 576 pages. Text by 7 writers specializing in the history of American Championship Racing. Complete box scores and stats of every race. Don't miss out. Get yours now.